Are you speaking in English or Estonian?
In English.
In English.
I can do it in Greece.
Okay, in Greece we speak both in Greek. This is a small task you have.
All right, so thank you everyone for coming to this joint press conference between the foreign ministers of the Republic of Estonia and the Hellenic Republic. This press conference will be in English, and we will start with statements from both ministers, starting with Foreign Minister Tsahkna. Afterwards, we will turn over to you for any questions that you might have. We'll take one or two questions. Before asking them, please state your name and which outlet you are representing. And now I will turn over to Foreign Minister Tsahkna.
Thank you. And first of all, I'm really happy that good friend Georgios, you made finally here, and I promised to go to the bilateral meeting as well back to Athens. But we are so like-minded countries, and our foreign policy is relying on the same values, and practically as well, we are doing many things together, and we meet actually very often. So I'm very happy that you came to Estonia, and we can discuss as well bilateral relations. But first of all, again, it's my very deep gratitude for your support when we had this Russian violation of our airspace, and you were one of the countries who stood together with me in the face of United Nations, and when we called the United Nations Security Council meeting, and this message was very strong. And during our meeting as well, I said that for Estonian people, it is tremendously important to know that we are not alone. We are not alone, never again, as we decided in 1992 when we formed our some kind of unwritten agreement on political level. And you need to know as well that we are together with you. We are not only focusing on Russia and on the east border, but as well we have this 360 degrees approach, and as well NATO allies, good friends, and also in European Union. Our people, they have been and they will be in the frame of Frontex and some other cooperation frames together with Greek to stand for security. And as well we are sharing the same values, but bilaterally I can say, of course, most of Estonians, we want to be in Greece to spend our holidays, but as I heard and I experienced myself as well, that your summers are already too hot. So maybe people can find as well more ways to come to Estonia to spend the summers here, because we have a very gentle.
Or you could come in Greece in winter.
Yes, we'll do. Most of us will go, and as well I've been there like sailing and visiting. But on defense policy level, thank you again that your fighters have been here in air patrolling. And any kind of defense level cooperation is very crucial for us, as well on a private level. A couple of Estonian companies, they got as well the investments from your country, from your companies, and this is increasing a lot. We discussed as well the very practical steps about how can we put more pressure on Russia from European Union side, which is about the 19th sanction package, which will be approved very soon. As well the tariffs, which is an opportunity which doesn't need the consensus, which is hard to get on European Union level. But also one thing that the Greek is really number one in the world is about the fleets, about the sailings, and one topic which is very important for us: how can we deal with the Russian shadow fleet? And on that level, we agreed many practical steps, and we need this cooperation. We are the coast country for the Baltic Sea, where the 60% of the Russian oil and gas export is going through. I know that there is not only Estonian journalists, but you need to understand that 60% of the oil and gas export from Russia is going through this very narrow corridor. You can see it's 80 kilometers from Tallinn to Helsinki. There are territorial waters both sides, there are economical waters, and there is like 6 nautical miles corridor only, and all this going through. And sometimes we calculate, 400, 500 tankers and vessels per week. And this is a heavy traffic, and lots of them, they are shadow fleet vessels. And this cooperation is crucial. It's not about Estonia, Finland, and not even the Baltic Sea countries, but it's much more global. And here you are the leading country as the largest fleet country in the world. So I'm not going to waste the time long because I can talk to my journalist every day, but please, my good friend, George we say normally, but Georgios, please.
Thank you so much, Margus. It's wonderful to be here in beautiful Tallinn. It's been a lifelong dream to be here. And I grabbed the opportunity to actually come and visit my friend. Thank you for your warm welcome and hospitality here. Over the years, our cooperation has been deepening, both in the European Union and within NATO. I see actually Margus very, very often over our councils, and we always have some wonderful time together. Especially because we're very like-minded in all respects. In spite of the disparity of our geography, the challenges are common. Estonia being at the eastern flank and Greece being at the southeastern. But we do share a lot of things. First of all, we're coastal states, and that makes things sometimes even more complicated. We feel the challenges and sometimes the threats. This is why we both spend more than 3% of our GDP on defense, and we do share the common view, the European common view of strategic autonomy when it comes to defense, and we both cherish the strengthening of the European defense mechanisms in order to develop the European defense industry. We do have ties. Both trade ties, but also defense ties, strategic ties, cultural ties, and I think it's important that we develop them even further. I think it's good, in spite of our geographic disparity, to actually get closer, the Baltic states with the Balkans, because I think it is important to develop a common attitude when it comes to issues of foreign security policy, because the challenges are the same, and we do encounter aggression sometimes in the same way, and global problems are becoming all more complicated. And we saw that over the over the General Assembly of the United Nations last week. We were there, and I have to tell you that I was very proud to be part of the extraordinary meeting of the Security Council, convened especially for the airspace violations of the Estonian sovereignty. It was clearly a blatant violation of sovereignty and territorial integrity of Estonia. And we need to stick together when it comes to that type of aggression. Having had the experience of thousands of violations of Greek airspace, which we have raised in fora, including the European Union and the United Nations, we can totally feel the Estonian concern, especially at times of aggression, such as nowadays, and we join our voice with Poland and Romania in condemning violations of national territory in all type of possible terms. It's important that we have a main strategy of maritime security. As you probably know, Greece has set as a priority the maritime security during her term at the Security Council of the United Nations, and we have taken a lot of initiatives concerning maritime security. And in this respect, I have to reiterate in the strongest possible terms our firm commitment to combat phenomena such as the Russian shadow fleet, not only because it reflects the vehicle of aggression of Russia against Ukraine and against the world, but also because that poses a huge threat for maritime security. And we discussed extensively with my colleague how to coordinate activities in order to have a meaningful and effective overview of the shadow fleet situation. we need to end the wars and conflicts, both in Ukraine and in the Middle East. It's important to have a moment of peace, because this is required by global security, and it's important to develop our synergies to this effect. It's important that we coordinate in international fora as well. It's important that Greece, we have become the fourth C on the Three Seas initiative, because essentially it's a single space, it's a European space, and that we need to defend and promote, and the challenges are very common. And of course, we need to develop all type of cooperations when it comes to investment, trade, and economy. We have a series of agreements, the bilateral agreements between the two states. I think the most important of which is energy, cybersecurity, e-government. Estonia is among the leading countries when it comes to any sort of high technologies and AI that we're trying to develop, and we would welcome exchange of know-how. I think, my dear friend Margus, that the transformation of the European Union into a geopolitical union requires closest ties, especially among countries with the same ideas concerning the root problems of what is happening now in Europe, and we need to intensify our efforts in order to have a more prosperous European future. And we do recognize at this moment the need for a much larger, stronger, and united Europe based on cohesion, competitiveness, and strategic autonomy. And this is the signal of my visit. We work together, the two foreign ministers, the two states, for a more autonomous, self-conscious, and more powerful Europe. Thank you.
We have time now for 2 questions. So, yes.
My question for Mr. Gerapetritis, yes, from Greek National Television. My name is Katerina Frisa, and I would like to ask what is your message to the revisionist forces in the region?
This is not a simple question to answer. I was expecting that you would pose a question to my colleague, because we see each other relatively often. So, but the truth is that this is a critical question, sometimes a question of existential nature. We are totally against any type of revisionism in Europe and globally. The truth is that in the last few years we have seen a different type of revisionism, alongside with the traditional aggression, as the aggression coming from Russia against Ukraine and many other states. We have seen new forms of aggression, such as hybrid threats coming from cyber threats, cyber security concerns. We have seen migration being instrumentalized in order to produce weaponry for revisionist purposes. We have one single voice in these respects, and this is that revisionism in any possible form will not be accepted by the Europeans, and especially by like-minded countries. And this is why we need to coordinate both within the European Union as well as within NATO. It is essential that we have a transatlantic cooperation in this respect, because security concerns is not a regional issue. What we have encountered, I think, is the abolishment of any sort of a very spotted and regional conflict. We can see now that all conflicts do have a very wide footprint, I would say a global footprint. For us, Ukraine is not away, is not far away. For Estonia, Middle East is not far away, because essentially what is at stake is the same issue. is the international security architecture as built after Second World War. And this is why we stay aligned. And we will join our forces in order to develop a wall of protection against neo-revisionism tensions.
What can I add? Our principle is about the United Nations Charter. And the question is that we need to be very clear that this is like the domino effect in the world globally. And I think that it's very good momentum to talk about the United Nations Charter. Sometimes it's looked to our people as well. There's something very like basic and what is the connection with real life, but actually these principles about territorial integrity, these principles about sovereignty, and all the other principles what we have agreed after the Second World War in 1945, they're under the very direct threat. We have more than 50 military conflicts in the world. And one thing which is globally connecting most of the countries which are not aggressive countries as Russia or the North Korea and some others is these principles. And as well, a couple of weeks ago during this UNGA high-level week, I saw that at the moment when we called the United Nations Security Council, it was not a problem in Europe. It was not a problem, the violation of Estonian airspace, and as well a couple of days before the aggression against Poland about the drones, violation of the NATO territory, and also the Russian aggression against Ukraine. It's not like the single or the isolated conflict or aggression. Many nations who are not very close to Europe, they understood that this is exactly the same problem and violation of these principles. So as well, we understand, as my friend said as well, what is happening in other regions. We are very close to that. What is happening in Indo-Pacific? So they're all connected. And for us, of course, the Russian aggression against the Ukraine is closer. And what we have witnessed, as an example in our region, it's not about only the war against Ukraine. It's about hybrid threats. It's about hybrid attacks. It's about violation of all different levels, trying to divide our societies, to start to talk about maybe there are some other ways, not guided by the United Nations Charter or the principles of international law, and this is a wrong way to go. If we list everything what has happened in Europe about hybrid attacks on all different levels during the last 3.5 years, if we list everything, as well, I mean the Copenhagen airport and also Munich airport and many, many other things in Europe, not only in Estonia. And we put this list 4 years back. I think we all in Europe would have been in shock. That's what we need to talk about. We cannot let us boil as a frogs, turning on the heat and divide our societies, but we need to have these principles and follow them. And this revisionism is not fitting into this picture. Thank you.
We have one more.
Karel Kressa from Delfi News portal, and to both ministers, I guess you mentioned practical steps to combat shadow fleet. What are these and what could Greece specifically do about it?
We have discussed extensively with my homologue on this issue, as well as on the sanction packages against Russia. What we said is that we will set a standard mechanism of exchanging information about those issues. It's important that we receive some tangible evidence about the shadow fleet, and the truth is that Estonia is geographically located very critically in this respect. So it's important that we have a flow of information that will allow us, if there are any incidents involving ships of Greek interest, to intervene effectively. At the moment, we cannot say that we have any type of this evidence, but it's important that we coordinate in this respect. We do realize that type of practice with the shadow fleet, it's not only a threat for maritime security, it's not only a blatant violation of international law and an instrumentalization of the shipping in order to produce aggressive purposes, but it's also an anti-competitive practice. In the sense that you have all the type of ships which are not insured properly. They do not carry the security guarantees required by maritime regulations, so they are against any sort of maritime security. So it's important that we restore normality in this respect, and I reiterated our full commitment to do this in cooperation with the Estonian authorities and with the EU authorities.
Yes, we have different frames. One is bilateral, as Minister said as well, that the change of information and communication about the facts and the documentations and so on. This is very important because Greece is really the largest fleet in the world, and also the experiences globally. This is something what we need bilaterally as well. In the frame of European Union, we are just going to adopt very soon the 19th package of the sanctions, and there will be one special part about listing more shadow fleet vessels as well on European Union level, the measures what can we execute together, and as well in the frame of NATO, because this is not a question only about the economical behavior from Russia. It's also the question of the security, but also environment. You can very well imagine that what if something happens with even one tanker, which are normally not in very good practical shape on the Baltic Sea and close to Estonia on the Finnish coast, and there will be disaster. So these corporations are very important as well. The undersea infrastructure. You see. The Eastern Sentry mission, which is on the Baltic Sea, already active. So you see many different levels of the cooperation, but also the question about the international law and the free sea conventions. We need to coordinate how can we implement these frames, because we all follow the international law and agreements. Russia does not, and some other countries as well. But we need to act here together. Estonia belongs as well to the frame of the Baltic Sea Council, and this is a frame as well. We can cooperate not only around the Baltic Sea, but with Greek and some other countries more globally. And as well, going back to this United Nations high-level week, we had side events about this topic, and also Greece was one country who actually led this side event, which was more global approach. How can we actually stand against this shadow fleet? It's not only Russia; there are some other countries as well who are using that. So there are many different layers of cooperation what we can do, and we discuss that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The press conference is now concluded.
Thank you.